Cameron Fry. That guy. Welcome to Screen Fiend. It's your boy Carcino here. As we're now talking Ferris Bueller, one of the greatest movies ever filmed in the city of Chicago, and one that the media and the critics really didn't like when it first came out. Very strange. Like the activity I'm having on this page right now, it's very strange. What's up, Mr. Tolliver? Ferris Bueller is everyone's favorite film, normally in the 80s. It's a fun movie about a kid. That would be funny. What's up, Mr. Brown? Yes, it's a very classic film. I'm feeling pretty good. He was a great friend. He would remind me of... He would have been in the house the whole time if it wasn't for Ferris. I guess. But do you think that's why Ferris went over there to get Cameron out of the house? So you're saying Ferris Bueller was imaginary, or Cameron was imaginary? Which one? Cameron was the imaginary friend? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay, you guys have been smoking too much. Ferris was imaginary. Okay, so well then I guess Ferris's parents must have been imaginary. Ferris's girlfriend must have been imaginary. The fact that Ferris was actually doing a lot of the talking every time they went places, that must have been his imagination of Ferris doing those conversations. So, I don't do drugs, so I don't understand where this conversation is going. But let's go. Let's go back to the original statement here at hand. Yeah, maybe if this movie was filmed by Christopher Nolan, yes. If this was Christopher Nolan, Ferris Bueller, then yeah, that might be a case. No, it's not Jerty. I've seen Inception. I've seen a lot of movies like that. Of course, we've seen Fight Club, so that's not very deep at all. Try Requiem of a Dream, and yeah, we know this is far off from the point. Now let's get on the point. Now you guys said he did Cameron a favor by taking Cameron out of the house. So he was a friend. He's a good friend to take him out of the house. The only reason that Ferris Bueller ever was talking to Cameron in the first place is because Cameron had a car and Ferris did not. That was the only reason why he had to call Cameron. Would he have called Cameron if he had his own car? No. He would have not came to pick up Cameron to get Cameron out of the house. He only called Cameron because he needed the car. That's why he got him to get the dad's car out of the garage. He knows he can use Cameron for anything he wants. He was not his friend. And he states it in the movie. He was like, oh man, I hope things change for Cameron. You can't go to college this uptight. His roommate would kill him. If things don't change for him, he's going to marry the first girl he lays. And she won't respect him. Why? Because you can't respect somebody that kisses your ass. You just can't. He told you that. And so he felt like Cameron's a kiss up, a kiss butt type of guy, so he don't even respect Cameron. So he's not his friend at all. Cameron was somebody he took out, and it ended up being better for Cameron that all these things happened because it helped him stand up to his dad. But it had nothing to do with Ferris. Ferris is just the one that was using him. He had him call Principal Rooney to get his girlfriend out. And then he can call on the other line so Rooney wouldn't think it's him. That's the only reason he used Cameron. But in the movie, he's trying to act like he's done something for Cameron. Cameron, what do you mean? We saw worthless pieces of art. We ate pancreas. This is for my friend Cameron Fry, who thought he saw nothing good today. I recall Central Parking Lot, how you tore your dress, what a mess. Oh, it felt dark as shade, darling, dark as shade. Thank you for Wayne Newton. I recall Central Parking Lot. See, John Hughes was a genius. He knew how to make movies that would resonate throughout time. 16 Candles. Oh, thanks, Mr. Brown. I appreciate that. 16 Candles. Breakfast Club. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He got bashed by the press and the media. He couldn't deal with the critics. The critics were so critical of his movies, it drew him away. It drew him all the way away from making films. Till he just started changing his name and started writing other films under a different name. But John Hughes was the legend. Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Ferris was such a manipulator.
What if he recognizes my voice?
Impossible. You're doing great.
Yeah.
Jesus, wait.
Rooney?
Oh.
Rooney, calm down.
Just a moment.
Just a little office difficulty, sir. Rooney, I don't have all day to bark at you, so I'm gonna make this short and sweet. I want my daughter out in front of the school in 10 minutes by herself. I don't want anybody.
What? It's too suspicious. He'll think something's up. Cover it. You. Talk. You. Talk. Come on. 3 or 6. Talk.
See? Whenever he's not doing something that Ferris wants him to do, Ferris barks at him. This is not a friend. This is a user. This is a manipulator. That's all Ferris was. Nothing less, nothing more. If that's the way you want to put it, yeah, okay. You can say that. But Ferris Bueller was the king of manipulation. So he never really had a true friend. He only wanted to possess and control situation. Mia Saro, which is that plays his girlfriend Simone in the movie, and in real life, Matthew Broderick was dating his sister Jennifer Grey. Did John Hughes do Fast Times at Richmond High? I don't know. He might have been involved in it. I don't know. John Hughes is from Chicago, so he always used the Chicago suburbs in a lot of his films. He died out here, staying in his house, privately owned, writing scripts and movies. He tried to revitalize Ferris Bueller by having him crash down to earth with the career opportunities. We already talked about that. That was written by John Hughes when they were in Target. But Ferris Bueller was a great manipulator. And everyone knew that he would be successful. But John Hughes wanted to go in another direction with Ferris, which ended up being the script for Career Opportunities. Like, people thought Ferris was going to do great things after high school, but he was a person that ended up peaking in high school. And then after college, he was pretty much overwhelmed and ended up coming back home trying to refine himself. And he was living off old high school glory. Because Ferris always took shortcuts to everything. He never really did any work. So he wanted to bring that reality by having Ferris have a summer job working at a Target or some type of department store, where he was trying to convince himself that and tell everybody, oh, this is just a pit stop. I'm just doing this right now. I'm going to Hollywood or I'm going to Wall Street. He was living in this delusional fantasy that he was actually doing something, but he actually wasn't. And everyone had moved on, like all his friends. Cameron had done great in college. Simone had basically left him and went to college and was very successful in college and had moved on. So Ferris, who had nothing really going on, wanted to keep in contact with those people because his career didn't pan out the way it was supposed to. John Hughes had written this excellent movie where Ferris comes out on top in the end. Like, he gets his due back. Like, he gets back to the top. But another problem is John didn't work well with producers. John Hughes actually wrote Home Alone too. Also, in other words, John Hughes wrote Home Alone 1 and 2 and came up with the idea. That's why all of John Hughes films are in Chicago. He's very essential with having his films here in the city. He loved Chicago. He loved the scene. No one showed it like him, probably since the Blues Brothers. If you watch Ferris Bueller, you'll see all about the movie, all about the city. You saw Wrigley Field. You saw the places I had never been to as a kid, and I had lived in Chicago my entire life. I had never been inside of Sears Tower. I've never seen that art museum. I had never seen a lot of these different exhibits and things that you see in Chicago. You know, people think like when you live in a town that you've seen all this stuff. Most of this, there's places in this city of Chicago I have never been. I never wanted to go. I'm like, I don't want to go there. But that is the truth right there. Ferris Bueller was not Cameron's friend. No way, shape, or form was he ever Cameron's friend. And was never going to be. I'm out. And yes, we're going to do a NCAA breakdown. I'm going to do that on my main page. I'm going to do a NCAA breakdown. I'm going to do one for the brackets. But I got to make sure I go through all the teams. But I got to make sure I do my real brackets first and get all that turned in. But let me get out of here.